two options, and you know which one is your first disc with your MBR. Right? There are other things you can do to figure out the pictures and how big a picture is going to be. So remember we talked about manual carving. You have to know FFD8. You can actually carve out a picture manually and you can figure out how big a picture is. So when I told you before, it was if I carved the picture out and it was wrong, it will tell me the inappropriate size. You can't look at the size in the file system. So as an example, I took a picture and I cut it out. Let's say it was corrupt on the drive or I have my slice sizes wrong. And I took that picture and I saved it. You see the size of the dimensions that the metadata says this picture is? That is not 8K. That's not an 8K picture. Right? How big would that be?
10 meg or something.
10 megapixel. Exactly right. So I know you kind of maybe guessed a little bit. Is that about right? No? Yes?
Yeah, 2.5, 4.
Oh wait, you looked at the pictures.
What? 2.5 times 4 is about 6.
Yeah, so you can do that and you can try to guess, or you have another option. You go to the web and you go find a calculator for the size, the physical dimensions, and then based on the only thing that changes is what happens in between the JPEG with its compression. Now most of the cameras are using somewhere like between 90 and 95 or something around there. We're probably closer to about a 2 meg picture. So that's probably what we're looking at for that size of a picture. Does that make sense? So I'm looking at approximately 2 megs if I enter in what those dimensions are, knowing the camera and knowing the things. That's what I'm going to base my decisions on. So I throw some drives in the array and I try to figure out what this is. I've now fixed the drives. I fixed what I needed to do. We're still imaging a drive. We're still trying to fix what we're going to put together. Now, I'm going to say this is 2 megs. And so like you guys looked earlier and you glanced at it and said, oh, 64K, that's what's happening here too. So the question is, so if you break this down and you divide by 2 every time, if you look at the top slice, you can see that the second row is wrong and it started to shift. But this top row is right, even though there's not really much color up there along the way. And then it looped through again. Remember I said every cycle it's going to loop through? When it loops through, watch this. See how big? See this slice is bigger than this slice? That's right. In many cases that slice is bigger. It's twice the size. Understand? Look at the layouts. I don't know if it actually has a layout right here. I have to look. So remember I told you it would loop through depending on the drives? Actually, since we have 4 drives, there would only be 5 stripes before it would loop through in many cases. So